what's on the surface. Good ambition, so much class. To get a break, you might need a hard pass. Speaking on every topic, from relationships to parenting tips, family issues, and politics. Healthy convo can stimulate your conscience. Can't be replaced with the reality nonsense. Don't need to be a dime when you shine like a diamond. Got the answer to your questions. Only you can take your couple with taking to each woman's perspective. Advice for the ages. She'd rather be honest than tell you lies. Entrepreneurs still killing them with a vibe.
I forgot to charge the speaker, y'all. But that's okay. Listen, I know it's about to rain outside, so y'all don't have nothing else better to do but to grab wine and meet me on the couch tonight for Chat with China. We are wrapping up the community season episode tonight, y'all, and I have a special guest. I'm going to get into her in just a second. Y'all know I got to start out properly. Actually, I'm going to amend something. So normally, y'all know my first shout out goes to Biscuit. That's my heart, and she will always be my heart. But I want to shout out my cousin Jordan, who just graduated from basic training, the police academy today. You are going to make me proud. And it's people like him, when y'all say defund the police, that makes me cringe, because he is really going out there to save lives of others. So I'm definitely proud of you, and I love you more than you know. Okay, let me tell y'all. So shout out to my girl Biscuit. Listen, y'all, she's like in her 3rd week of high school, and yeah, she's really enjoying it. Her first high school game is tomorrow. So shout out to my baby. I love you. My second official shout out goes to my slider. Y'all, today is Ashley's birthday. So shout out to my slider. Y'all know how I feel about her. Y'all know how I'm rocking about her. We are 10 years strong in the game. 828. Lovely looks, all of that. I'm here for you, Ash. I love you. Happy, 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 happy birthday. And we will be celebrating on Friday. Okay? Shiny Slaves. Listen, I don't know why the hell I let y'all talk me into getting that damn wig last week, because it ain't making 3 whole days and it was sitting on the top of my head. But I was like, listen, I need something real quick, something cute. So we tried something different with the butterfly braids today, y'all. So I hope y'all like it. Shout out to Shiny Slaves. Be great, sis. Thank you, Cassie. I love you, and we're gonna talk later. I'm so glad that you're home, and I love you. Listen, I done told y'all, and I finally talked to her today. I finally talked to my nail tech and told her I need her to get me in as soon as possible. So definitely shout out to Queen of Divine Nails. I know I have not seen her in a while, but she will be back on my fingers really, really soon, y'all. TNT Security is in the building with me, y'all. Listen, after traveling the whole world, he was able to pencil me in tonight, y'all. And do y'all know that he's going to be on Chat with China in October? Like, I'm super excited about that. But he is in the building. Y'all know he is always on my 6 when I need him. I'm going to buy him a drink tonight or something. I'm buying a drink tonight? Yeah, I'm buying his drink tonight, y'all, because he is in the building with me tonight. So shout out to TNT Security. Neil Lee Photography, y'all. Neil got me. Never mind, I was gonna tell y'all about his business, but I'm gonna tell y'all later. Actually, no, he don't put it out there. It's public. Neil got me wanting a baby, y'all. Not from him, but he giving me baby fever because he got a little baby, y'all. And I think I want another one so bad. Y'all pray for me, okay? Pray for me, girl. But for real, Neil Lee Photography, y'all. Listen, and too many times, y'all do not have professional headshots, like. Just, you don't. So you need to reach out to Neil Lee Photography and get your photos done, okay? All right. This, that, and the other podcast, they will be on tomorrow, you guys. Shout out to them. They celebrated their 100th episode. They are making moves out here in the city, and I'm forever, ever, ever proud of them and appreciative of the friendship we have. Now listen, y'all know this is going to forever be my favorite shout out, forever and ever. I'm never telling y'all to kill y'all people, but when they die, call Reggie Cannon of Cannon Funeral Home and then tell him I sent y'all. I need him to know this little PR that I be doing is working, okay? So when y'all go to Cannon, tell them y'all heard it on Chat with China first, okay? All right. So as I told you guys, it's one more thing. Strive for a Cause is celebrating our 10-year anniversary. I want to shout out the Polk County Sheriff's Department. They are a sponsor for the show this year. Listen, I want to tell y'all, let me tell y'all one thing. I just booked a band for the opening scene. So that tells y'all how extra we are going to be for Strive for a Cause and how we are going to show out for these breast cancer survivors. We are going to award 2 survivors with $500, so $1,000, and we have raised that money. So we do need you guys to have the breast cancer survivors register. If you do know one, have them register. That was the only way that they can enter to win, and then they have to be present that day to receive the $500 check. So we have raised, it's been sponsored. $1,000. So we were going to give away two $500 checks to 2 breast cancer survivors. But again, they have to be registered and they have to be at the event that day, which is October the 6th. So again, I'm super excited about that. All right, so listen, now we can get into my guest, y'all. As you guys know, and I can say this without crying today, that Sunday marks 17 years that I have been without my dad. My father was murdered when I was 19 years old. It was no secret. My dad was a drug dealer, and that lifestyle ultimately cost him his life. The bad part about that is we are from a small community, and the person whom was responsible for my father's death was from that community as well. So we were talking about the community. We've had Grady Judd on here to talk about the community from the perspective of the police department. We had another person come on who was a retired police officer come in and talk about the community role and that the police officers play. We've had Christopher King come in and talk about the community as far as in the household and what we are as parents need to do in order to do better as raising our kids in this community. But we're going to close this out today with talking about the community and the roles that we play when we are taking the lives of each other within that community. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce someone, and before I do, I have to publicly say thank you, because I do believe this is her first time publicly sharing her story about what has happened and what brought us together in the mutual thing that we share. So I want to introduce Miss Tangie to come on here with me, and y'all welcome her to the couch. Yeah, and you're so cute.
Thank you.
Listen, she came ready. She was like, I don't know what to wear, but listen, she understood the assignment, and I appreciate it.
Thank
you. You look great.
Thank you.
So listen, now I know we have a sad, I'm not gonna say it's all sad, but I will say this. You gotta start with the shout outs. You got to shout some people out. We gotta do it the right way now. We gotta do it the right way.
Okay, I'm gonna send a shout out to my daughter Sugar.
Okay.
My son Damari, my son Jamie, my daughter Diamonds, and Big Jamie. I'm gonna send a shout out to my family for the support. My best friend Alicia, I would like to send a shout out to her, and my cousin Kanisha as well. Shout out to my family.
Okay. So I want you to go in and give a brief introduction of, let's talk about your son.
Okay, so my son, Demetrius Wilson, everybody knows him as me. Just was a fantastic person. Defied all the obstacles that Black men have to conquer in life. He was fortunate enough to come up in a 2-parent home.
Oh.
Okay. He wasn't a drug dealer. He worked at Publix.
Okay.
He worked at Cobb's Theater. And then ultimately he achieved what he wanted to achieve, and that was to get his own business. Okay. So he started a business. It was called Getting There.
Oh, okay.
So he had a contract with the Tampa Bay Bucks, and he would take you to and from your car on golf carts. He also had a trucking business.
Okay.
And it was called I'll Get You There.
Okay.
But he never got to get that one up and going because, of his demise.
Okay. Let's talk about that day. So sometimes it's like when we talk, we remember that day like the back of our hand, like we just know. And I specifically remember I was at home at this time. Rico and I were dating, and I was at home, and I remember my mom's boyfriend coming in. He was beating on the door, and he was like, you gotta come with me right now. And let me tell you what I grabbed. I didn't grab no cell phone. I didn't think I had a cell phone. I grabbed my driver's license. That's all I grabbed. I grabbed my driver's license, and I just remember I felt like I was trying to get in the truck, and maybe I wasn't moving fast enough, but he just kind of threw me in the truck. And my sister was sitting behind my mom, and I was sitting behind him in the truck, and my mom was in the front, and she was just crying. And I think she already knew. Well, yeah, I think she already knew, and I think my sister knew, but I'm the only one in the car that doesn't know. So we're driving, and he's just like speeding, and it hit me like my little brother wasn't in the car. So those that know, I had a little brother that was born disabled. That's what I'm thinking. We can go get him or something that happened to him because my mom was just crying uncontrollably. And I remember that we get there to Mulberry, and I'll never forget this. When we got to the Cobb Theater at that intersection on Harding, there was this undercover car that got in front of us and guided us into Mulberry. And I don't even think this cop knew who we were. Like, we didn't stop for no red lights. Or I'll never forget. It was like he just guided us into Mulberry. So I remember we parked at the gas station because they had the road taped off. And I remember taking off once the truck stopped, and I ran up to as far as we could go to my dad's front door. And the police were there, and the truck was there. They were doing the fingerprint of people, and the one of the officers came up to me and my sister, and my mom had came up behind us, and he said, "It does appear that Mr. Smith has passed away." And I'll never forget that moment in my life, like, because it was just like my mom had said it in the truck, but it really didn't hit me until I heard somebody else say it. And so tell us, how did you find out?
Okay, so I'm gonna take it back to this was a Friday, and me had moved back home with me, and he was getting ready to get him another place because he had just moved out of one house and he was getting ready to get him another home. So he had been staying with me for 2 months. So this Friday, he get up like he normally do, and he proceeded to get his kids prepared for the daycare. So, no, let me back it up. So Thursday, he came home and he handed me his dreads. So I was like, "Me, you cut your hair?" Cause he had this little hairstyle that he
I
made
remember.
So everybody went to wearing this little hairstyle, so we cut him off. So he gave them to me, and I was like, "Me, like, you cut your hair?" I'm like, "What?" He was like, "Mom." I was like, "Me, why you cut your hair off?" He said, "Mom, where I'm going," he said, "I don't need this look no more." So I was like,
And this was Thursday.
This Thursday. So I'm thinking, oh, Meek finna start preaching, because we have like very distinctive voices. I do, Meek do, my daughter, my mom. So I'm like, okay, Meek finna start preaching. Okay, so then we're gonna go to Friday. So Friday, he was getting his kids prepared, and he was playing church music. Like, it was just, I'm like, oh yeah, Meek finna change his life. You know, I'm just like grateful, like, okay, because we was brought up in church. We always went to church.
Shout out to Jermaine and Sean for making this happen.
Thank you, nephews. So basically, he left that Friday. He was gonna go and pick his girlfriend up from the airport. He had kind of was trying to make up to his girlfriend, so he was like, "I'm gonna take her to the Deluxe, and I'm gonna let everybody see this my girl." So he leave. I kiss him. I tell him I love him. He leave Friday. You know, we talk later on that night, and we didn't talk Saturday. But we text, and he was just like, "I got Michelle, I'm going to the Deluxe tonight." And I was like, maybe y'all shouldn't go, because they had kind of stopped going. And I was like, well, maybe y'all shouldn't go. And he was like, well, all of us gonna be there, me and my other kids, Sugar, and my other son. Okay, so this is Saturday. So I have 2 salons. So I was at one of my salons working. It was getting late. I was perking with the girls. Yeah, I'm gonna go out with y'all tonight.
And you ain't going nowhere.
I get sleepy at night. I get sleepy at night. So I went home, and it's like 11 o'clock, and it's way past my bedtime. So I get a call, and the call said, Muhammad, like, I can't even remember the last name. And so I was like, Muhammad. So I answered the phone because one that was late, and Muhammad, that just, I don't know, so I answered it. Okay, so what we say that I played the lottery lights. Okay. So every night I went to this store. So these people.
You think you don't want the lottery? I'm gonna let you tell your story. Go ahead.
So basically, we had a friendship with the people at the store. Me, my kids, my family. He called me. That number was him calling me.
Okay.
And he said he could never say Tangy, so he always called me Jamie.
Okay.
So he was like, Jamie, he said, you need to come quick. And I was like, what? What's wrong? He said, your son, he's been shot and it's bad. I'm like, which one of my sons? He said, the one in the pink car. I was like, me? I was like, okay, I'm coming. So where I live, where I stayed, it was taking me a while to get there. And so basically, I didn't go to the store because they told me they had him en route to the hospital. Okay. So I went to the hospital, and when I got to the hospital, they was like, no. So when they got to the hospital, they took my son out of the ambulance. And my son was on the gurney, and his arm fell off the gurney. And I looked at Jamie, which is my husband, and I said, meet Dominic. And he was like, nah, baby, he was like, hold on. So, okay, we waiting. So they come, and it's like we tried to save him, but one of the bullets hit his liver and shattered his liver, so they wasn't able to save him.
How many children do you have?
I have 4 left. I had 5. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're gonna get into what most people want to know, what most people want to talk about is the family part of this. And I have to be transparent with this. I got some backlash about it before, but this is my couch, so I say what I want to say, and I want you to feel free to say what you want to say as well. So the guy that's in prison for killing my dad is actually not the person that killed him. Backing it up, he's the brother of the guy that killed my dad. The one that's in prison had taken a rape charge for his brother years ago and got off. So he was thinking with this, if he would play incompetent or whatever, he wasn't going to go to prison. I honestly wish that it had been taken to trial because it probably would have been a different outcome, but he took a plea deal and was given 20 years. Fast forward to 2019, the guy that actually killed my father committed suicide. I wrote the guy that's in prison when he first went. I attempted to get him out of prison with the contingency that he was going to give us the true killer. It wasn't until after his brother committed suicide that he wanted to come out and tell his story. Prior to him even being arrested, family members who knew that he was guilty for this allowed him to stay there. I think it took them about 2 days before they found him. But he was staying at relatives' homes. Tell us your side with how your family ties into your son being taken away from you. Because that's the hurtful part about it is, if you know Mulberry, then you know we're very small. You're from Pope, you're from Lakeland. You've done hair, so people know who you are. It's hurtful when it's not even just strangers, but it's the family. So talk to us about that.
I want to start off by saying, I'm not mad. See, I realized it took that to happen to my son for me to take another step in life. I've heard so many things since me passed away, but it is what it is. Like, I don't even hate them that did that to my son. I don't hate them. Now let me tell you, it's been 3 years. So 3 years ago, I hated them. I wanted them dead and all that. But being that we came up in church and stuff, and my aunt them was like in my ear stressing, you know the word of God. You know what the Bible say. This is growing pain. This is something you can't go over, you can't go under. You gotta take it head on. So as that's being beat into my head and me remembering, I gotta go back to what I know. I gotta go back to the word of God to get me through this because I'm too hurt. So basically, one of my nephews on my mother's side was dating a girl. Then my cousin on my father's side started dating this girl.
Okay.
Okay. So now my nephew on my mom's side and my cousin on my dad's side, they're beefing. They going back and forth like with this girl, about this girl. Okay, so now basically I have one of my son's name is Damari. So they was telling Mari like my cousin them called my son and basically said, you know what I'm saying, which side you gonna choose?
Why was he put in that position to have to choose either
Because
side?
they was beefing and he said I'm not picking no side. He was like, we blood cousins and Jay Sean is family. So it went on, you know, I was trying to like reach out to their mom, to their grandfather, to their dad, just anybody that would listen. I got police reports. Just I did all that I could do, you know, far as trying to talk to, you know, everybody. Now I wasn't a saint in everything that went on. I'll say that because now I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? My house has gotten shot up like 4 times. My grandkids there, my children there. You know, it was just crazy.
But it wasn't even anyone directly in your household. You have 2 outside or 2 from each side, 1 from each
Right,
side.
my nephew don't live with me, and neither do my cousin. But now, where we stayed, it was just easy access to shoot the house up and get out of there because we was right by I-4. We was right by New Tampa Highway. It was just multiple ways. So it's like they targeted my house. They didn't go and shoot up my nephew mom's house, or you know, nobody shot up it was a lot of back and forth.
Okay.
It was a lot of back and forth. But Demetrius never shot nobody, shot up no house. Demetrius never did nothing. Demetrius was way older than these kids. Demetrius had something going on. And let me remind you, he was a coach for the Lakeland Fire basketball team.
We do remember that. I do remember that. The kids were hurt by this.
The kids were hurt. The community was hurt. When it was COVID, Pastor Query was able to get up and tell the congregation that although churches was closed every Monday when they checked the drop box, my son continued to pay his tithes while it was COVID and no church going on. So my son was an upstanding guy. He just, but I understand life. See, 3 years ago, I thought I understood life because, you know, I had not been married all these years and, you know, I did the best with my kids. You know, we didn't come up in poverty. We came up pretty good in life. I mean, that's what it was. And so that day there, so I need to tell all of it. So my nephew and my cousin, they really are beefing bad.
Okay. So
a Thursday night, my cousin them followed my nephew home from Barside, and they shot my nephew house up. So my nephew, one of the bullets landed in the bed with my nephew's 10-month-old daughter. So my nephew in return chased my cousins.
Oh, this was simplicity?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I just want to make sure I was still on track.
So they chased my nephew chased my cousins and catch up with them at a red light, and they exchanged fire. One of my cousins died. So one of my cousins died, and my nephew, after he did it, he came to my house. So when they find the car that was used in the shooting,
it's at your house.
It's around the corner from my house. So naturally, what did people start saying?
That you had something to do with it.
You had something to do with it. You know you had something to do with it. And this is my right hand God. If I had something to do with it, I would have been in jail like my nephew is. So when my nephew killed Cody, they in return like plotted They had a real deal plan and they executed it. And they killed my son, and that's what happened. My son was just leaving Day Lux. He was low on gas. This ain't even like him. But he was ready. See, he was ready to go. Here's the thing.
You say he had cut his dreads.
He cut his dreads.
He told you where he was going. Then he didn't need that hairstyle.
He also, he just, I could just go on forever. The things that he was doing now that I know.
In hindsight.
Okay. So, basically he had done been to the Day Lux, him and his girlfriend. He get out, he go in the store, he pay for the gas, he come out, he tell her, take some pictures of me. She proceeded to take pictures of him, and she say, he looked, and she say, when my son looked, she looked. And my son started running. So when my son started running, they were shooting. So they shot him like on his like right side, and whatever side your little sit on, that was the side they shot up.
Okay.
So he got hit 3 times in his arm, his side, and in his leg, and yeah, he didn't make it.
The police investigated this.
Police investigated LPD.
So let's talk. Let's get off the. We're gonna turn this around for just a second. Let's talk about the investigation itself, because we talked to Grady Judd, we've talked to a retired police officer, and you know their job is to protect and serve. But when I had the retired police officer, he said his first job is to make it back home, which I do believe. But when they're out, they have a job to do. I have nothing bad to say about the police officers that handled my father's case. The day going to his viewing, as a matter of fact, I vividly remember them coming to my grandmother's house to let us know that they had a lead and they were about to make an arrest. Like, I have nothing bad to say about the sheriff's department. You unfortunately did not have the ability to work with the sheriffs because of where this happened. So you worked with Lakeland PD, or Lakeland PD worked your son's homicide.
Yes.
Let's talk about that and the experience that you had, because too, tying into the community, we've had so many people say defund the police, and if you guys caught the beginning of Chat with China today, I've expressed to you, and I'm going to make a post about it tonight as to why I don't believe in defunding the police.
Right.
Do we have some bad police officers? Of course.
Right.
All of them are not good, but all of them are not bad either. Do they have a job to do? Yes. Are some of them not going to do their job to the best of their ability? Of course. So what was your experience like working with Lakeland Police Department in this homicide?
I'm totally against defunding the police. We need the police.
We do.
And it's just, they just dropped the ball. I'm not going to go too much in detail. My case is still open. Okay. And I'm not going to go into...
So his killers have not been arrested?
No.
Okay.
No, his killer has not been killers or killer or however it went. They had.
I saw one video that had 2 people, but I'm gonna just leave that and say I saw that for myself. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, they arrested somebody, but it wasn't for the murder. You know, it was just like accessory to what went on that night.
Okay. And
the police had already let us know up front that that wasn't a charge that would send a person to prison. So it's not like, you know, it was no satisfaction with him being in jail, because really you're like being the fall guy. But hey, you know, I know the community. Okay, so LPD, they dropped the ball on a lot of stuff, but I mean, this just a part of life. You know what I'm saying? It's happening all over the world, not just Lakeland, not just Polk County. Every time you're on the news now, you're seeing incidents with police officers, and you know, and right, them people want to go home as well, and they have a family, and I respect authority.
What would you have liked to see done differently?
When I was reporting my house getting shot up, yeah, they wanted it to be gang related. They wanted these guys to be
gang was within the family.
They wanted them to be gang related, yet everybody was family. So it's like the story sounds so far-fetched. I think they was just like, man, hey,
when getting involved in that.
Yeah, that's.
So you feel like had it been investigated earlier on when you were reporting the initial shootings, we wouldn't have gotten to this point.
To this point, yeah.
What advice would you give the Lakeland Police
And
Department?
I just also want to tell you one thing. I even wrote the mayor. I wrote Grady Judd. I wrote anybody that would listen about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was going too far. And then especially when my son get killed, like
It's like one of those things when you hear when like Child Protective Service come in and they continue to let the kid go back and something doesn't happen. Okay.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on the police department as a whole? I know you said that you don't agree with defunding the police. What would you have liked for them to do have done differently?
Do your job better, you know what I'm saying? Like, really investigate. If you got a family or a son, put yourself in the parents' shoes, you know what I'm saying? Not just, this is my job. Although they are supposed to protect and serve as any other job, some people do a job for money. Some people do jobs because they love it, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like my situation with my son and it being my nephews and my cousins, I just really feel like they didn't take a
Do you feel like either one of those parties took into consideration what they were doing to the family as a whole?
Oh, no.
No.
Mm-mm. They didn't.
So, we talked about this off camera, but I was going to allow you to answer openly. And when I asked you, do you believe a life for a life? And before you answer that, the reason I say that is we talked about grievance counseling, and you know, both of us doing that for years. And it wasn't until I got the text message, my cousin Shariko texted me and told me to call her. It was early in the morning. I called her, and when I called her, she was like, "I just wanted to tell you that Sean died." And I was like, "How?" And she said she didn't have all the information, but I went to Googling the news in Chicago. And that's how I found out that he stumbled in front of a car, but he fell backwards, and they determined he fell in front of the car intentionally. So that's how, yeah. So
Wow.
It wasn't until that, so that was in February, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe that was in February. That following June for Father's Day and my dad's death anniversary of that year was the first year that I could remember that I did not cry. I was at peace. And I know that sounds so bad, and that's where I got the backlash from, because it was like, you are at peace because someone else lost their life. I needed that peace. I've been at peace for so many years because I do believe in a life for a life. I do believe that the person that was responsible for my father's death should have never gotten out. He should have done, but and when I look at it now, he was so miserable all these years, and that's what ultimately caused his demise. He was so miserable. And I even reached out to his brother afterwards, and I said, "You want me to help you get out of prison now because your brother's gone. But when I asked you to help me at the beginning, you didn't want to help me. I've even called because he got, what do they call it when you get out on good behavior, something like that? Like they knock time off of your sentence.
Okay.
I called and complained so much, he got an extra year added because they had given him 2 years off. I feel like he needs to spend the rest of his life in there. My father's never coming back. Never. So my question to you is, do you believe a life for a life? And I know that's the ungodly thing to say, but I wouldn't be human if I didn't tell you how I feel.
Yeah, and I understand it. Just know I understand it. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, because my cousin got killed and then my son got killed. And I know that my cousin mom them love him. Like, I know his brothers them loved him. I knew he was greatly loved as well as my son was greatly loved. They're entitled to feel the way they want to feel, you know, and their feeling was, okay, well, let's get them back. Now, you didn't get my nephew back.
They got your son back.
Shot and killed my cousin. Y'all knew that. He went to jail for it. So why did y'all target my son? Because of what? Because of we've been blessed in life
So do you feel like that because the car was around the corner from your house, do you feel like you were put in that position to where they felt like, oh, well, she gonna hide him and, you know?
That's what I heard it. You know, I heard people saying, and I have no reason to be dishonest, you know, because again, my nephew's in jail, and they knew my nephew killed him. They knew I didn't have nothing to do with it. They knew I didn't shoot him. They'll say I had something to do with it because it was my nephew, and then he came to my house, so y'all put me in it. But God above and my kids and my family know I never had nothing to do with it. Again,
what was that night like when he came to your house? Was that one of those?
It was crazy because we sleep. I go to sleep early. My nephew comes to the house, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. And he was like, and he beat on the door so hard, like it woke everybody in the house up. And we jump up, and my sister answered the door. So how the house is made, we had to come up the hallway, which take you a little bit to get to the front part of the house. And he was just like, he was just like hysterical. He was just like, they shot up my house, and he just went to saying what happened, and I was like, what? Like, you know what? So he said, take him to his mom. And I took him to his mom's house. And it took him about a month or so because his mom went and got him a lawyer.
Do you feel at that point that because we want to be fair and transparent, do you feel at that point that he should have turned himself in because he knew what happened? Or do you feel like it was okay for him? And this is just your opinion, because nobody can tell us how to feel.
Yeah.
But do you feel at that point, in all fairness, because if it had been the person that killed your son, you would have wanted them to either be in jail, or I ain't gonna lie, I'm not gonna call the uncles out, but the day that my dad passed away, we were standing there before my mom made us leave, and I have to thank her for this now, because at that time I was angry with her. My mom made us leave before they brought my dad's body out. She said she didn't want us to see that. So we did. My sister and I left. But prior to that, all of us standing there, my uncles, they were ready to go retaliate. Like, they didn't know who, but they were ready to go and retaliate right then and there. So in all fairness, do you feel like because he knew, should we have called the police? Or was it right to take him to his mom's?
At the time, I did what I thought was best, and that was take him to his mother.
Okay.
Because that's his mother, and that was his choice, and that was him and his mom's decision. I could have only speak for if it was my child, you know, what I would have did. It was a really weird night that night, but I did take him to his mom's house. His mom retained a lawyer. So basically, the lawyer told the mother when they charge him,
that's when he'll turn himself in.
Yes. So that's how that went. Okay. So he ended up getting 10 years for it.
We're talking about the community, and in this case, we're talking about the community as a family. What do you think we as the community, as the family, need to do better? And before you say that, I want to say, because so many times, like I just saw a post the other day that said, you know, it's certain family members we don't talk to them when we go to the family reunion. It's certain family members we don't associate with at all. It's just, you know, and it's hard because that's your family. But it's honest the truth. Like, it's some family members you just don't fuck with. What do you think us as the community, as the family community, have to do better and different?
Man, first of all, people need to stop being jealous. A lot of this is jealousy. I haven't did nothing to nobody. You hear me? I'm older in life. I'm established in life. I have businesses. I have a home. I like nice things in life. And that is what has brought a lot of dislike towards me.
They mad for the work that you put in.
But for the blessing that God gave me. Because I couldn't be here if God didn't allow me to get it.
Y'all heard it from her.
You hear me? But they ain't going to look at it like that. You know, hey. And as a community, when you be seeing people, children out there, like making wrong choices, I'm not telling you to just approach them in a
Well, back then, you know
way.
they could though.
Yeah, but baby, that was the 90s. The
Okay.
millennial kids, don't play with them millennial kids. And
Did you see the
cell
teacher
phones.
that the principal, I believe it is, her eye, she's blind now, and I think it's the left eye. He threw a hanger in her and it knocked her eyeball off the side, so she's blind now. These kids are a little different.
These kids are a lot
Okay.
different.
Okay.
So I just think that if we could just transform back to when you could say something to people, kids,
I
and you
miss those
could
times.
say, hey, baby, don't, and but today everything is so social media. Everybody wants to be more than what they is. I'm talking about could be sleeping in the car, get on social media, and you'll think she a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? So I know the community want me and my family to be, but guess what? There's no be. I'm not mad at my family. I respect my son gone. I don't want no get back. This is the first time I even spoke on my son's passing, and y'all know that. So what y'all want is for OTNG, you want it.
They want the old person. Okay.
I'm not her. I'm a broken-hearted mom that's repairing my heart. Like, God help me to restore my heart back to one, because it's a million pieces. But I also got 4 other kids that need me.
So that's what I was going to say or ask with trying to grieve, but then you also have other kids, even though they may be grown. How is that for you? Because it's like there's a trend that's going on TikTok right now. Born to be a mother of, we'll use yours, born to be a mother of 5, forced to be a mother of 4. There's a trend that's going on where parents are posting that they're losing their kids. It's a trend right now.
Wow.
So how does that work for you? Like, you're still having to be a mom, but you're grieving the loss of a child. And he had grandkids.
Oh yeah.
So how was that for you?
It's tough.
Or he had kids, so you have grandkids.
Yes.
So how was that for you?
It's tough. Me kids are 11, 8.
Do you guys remember when he posted
4.
from the father-daughter dance?
Right. Loyalty is 11 now. That's the hardest part, because that my daughter, my granddaughter, this will be me second daughter. She told her sister, they was arguing, and she said, Loyalty, when Daddy come from heaven, I'm gonna tell on you and you gonna get a whip. She knows her daddy
is in heaven.
Yes. Meet's in heaven. Meet a good person. Stand up.
How does it make you feel to know that he was the innocent one in this and to be brought into this? How can you not hold anger and hate in your heart?
Only God, because I was very, very mad at first. Like, I was mad. But I didn't make no stupid choices. Like, even though I was mad and I might have said some stuff I didn't do, I didn't retaliate, I didn't go.
And respectfully and righteously so, you are able to speak that way because that's the way that you feel.
Right. But I didn't even go there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I accepted that I'm a strong person.
You are a strong person.
So
So as we wrap this up, yours was the family feuding against the family, but sometimes it's the gangs with the gangs. It's, the feud it's always one versus the other. What do you say to those who feel that retaliation by murder is the solution? Because it's not. But what do you say to those that have that mindset?
It is crazy. The structure of the mama and the dad, there's no structure. See, we was raised being fearful of our parents, to the point that if somebody said, I'm gonna tell your mom on you, you gonna be like trying to get right, like you don't want a person to tell your mama. But these children, because one of my shops said it's across the street from a public park, and some days like you will see the children just like, I seen one with a gun so long he couldn't even bend his leg, he just was swinging it. And I said, hey, come here. So he came over.
A kid with a gun?
He probably was about 15.
He's still a kid.
Yeah, so he came over there. I said, why you got that gun? He was like, what? I said, I know what that is. He was like, man, it's rough out here. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I said, babe, I said, think before you react. I said, you might not never see me or talk to me again, but remember, I told you to think, because action, baby, can cause so much pain off of a simple reaction. So the community, we need to come together, quit being so competitive. Like, I don't understand why everybody's in competition. I'm not in competition. I'm Tangy. I've been doing hair. I started the Tangy braids.
What's the Tangy braids?
The Tangy braids were the under braids that I started, me and my sister. And I was so good at it.
You still doing the Tangy braids?
I will sometimes.
I might need to come. I can come sit in your chair and get the Tangy braids.
Yes, we're going to have to video you getting the Tangy braids.
Okay, how many braids? I'm tender-headed. How many braids?
Probably about 4.
Okay.
Let's give you 4.
Okay, I'm coming to sit in the chair soon.
In the chair.
I'm going to hold you to, you know it's on live now.
It's on live.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could say anything to your son, Demetrius
knows I love him. I miss him with every fiber in my body. Like, I really miss him. He was such an amazing person. You know, the person that's in your family that's gonna keep you laughing? That's him. He was such a jokester. He loved to play. He loved to cuddle. He used to always come and kiss me behind my ear and be like, Mom, I love you, just And I had him when I was a young girl.
Is he your oldest?
We grew up together, so I can't tell his age because you'll multiply my age. Now, I'm 53. I'm 53, soon to be 54.
Well, okay, wait, there was one more thing, and we're ending soon, so there's one more thing. I told you we would talk about it if we had time.
Okay.
So we did discuss the grievance counseling, because I do want to, that's very important.
Yeah.
I didn't go to grievance counseling for my dad, and we talked about this offline, so I'll talk about it online. I started grievance counseling when I lost my grandfather.
Yeah.
And I told you, and I'm still angry with him. And I have every right to be angry with him because I still to this day, I can't believe he left me. And I'm going to feel that way for a while. Like I told you, I feel like with my dad, I'm always going to feel like he chose the street life over my sister. And I have every right to feel that way because that lifestyle cost me his life. Grievance counseling for me was amazing because it was some days I really would just sit at my desk and cry and just couldn't figure out why. And I didn't know how to cope. But you have so many mothers, you have so many siblings who don't know how to cope with the loss. And the worst thing a parent can do is imagine having to bury their child. What did grievance counseling do for you? And do you recommend it? Because the other thing is too, it's starting to become, I'm not gonna say a trend now, but Black people are starting to go to therapy. You as a Black mom, losing her son to the streets, went through counseling. However you did, whether you call it grievance counseling, therapy, whatever, you still sought the treatment that you needed. Tell us, what did that do for you and would you recommend it? And we'll close out with that.
Okay, so I want to say this one thing. So you see how you feel that your dad was took from you unfairly, regardless of how he chose to live, he was took from you, then your grandfather was took from you. Somebody you love dearly. So imagine me, kids. Me was also a boy mom. He kept the kids Monday through Friday, and the kids go home Saturday and Sunday
to their mama.
To their mom. This is how good of a person he was. So to wrap up, basically, the therapy, it was good. Of course, I didn't think I needed therapy. But it was, to me, satisfying that I was able to talk to somebody and I wasn't being judged. She didn't know me to know nothing about me. So I wasn't judged. She knew my hurt and my pain. I cried the first couple of sessions. I couldn't even hardly talk to her because I was just so hurt about my son. But the ultimate thing is, I think Black people, we should get therapy. Like, it ain't just for other people, it's for us too. But the ultimate thing that got me to where I'm at today was strictly praying. I prayed. I prayed. I prayed.
You got people on here
prayed.
praying for you.
I prayed.
Shout out to T Baby.
Y'all, the ones that know me. Y'all know how I raised them kids. Y'all know how I raised my kids. Y'all know me was a good guy, but I understand life. I understand life. Read the Bible. If you read the Bible, everybody in this world has a chapter in the Bible. That's your life. That chapter is your life. And
someone just said the other day, the book, Vic Gurley did an interview with a guy in Tennessee, in Nashville, and he said the book is a book of parables. And if you sometimes dig into that, it is a book of stories. And then here you are saying it is a book of stories of our own lives.
That's what it is. And once you read the Bible, and you gotta like, this gotta be like a job. Like reading the Bible, it's like a job. You gotta keep going to get it. Like you just can't read it one day.
Shout out to my security guard who sends me a scripture every night. Like he does not miss.
TNT
sends me a scripture every night, and my uncle sends me one every morning.
Yes.
Like it's a job to read it, and I'll take it a step further and say you don't just read it and just like the message because they sent it. Read to understand what it was that they sent. And sometimes you got to go and read the context before to understand the scripture that they sent to you. We're going to take it to church tonight because I will read
anything you do persistently, you get good at it.
You do.
You're going to get good at it.
So therapy in the Bible has helped you.
Oh, definitely. Like
do this.
The tears, okay. I have my days, but I'm able to get on here and talk about my son.
Listen, I just said this. I'm gonna close with this. The Book of Job is amazing. Reinstated me. Shout out to Shanita.
All right.
I told you Sunday was my dad's anniversary, and 17 years. And I had been in a funky mood since Friday because it was like I was anticipating the date, but I was trying so hard to. Okay, let me not think about it. Like, let it just happen. Like, let the date just come. And it was like the more I tried to not think about it, the more I thought about it. And I was like, okay. So I had just kind of been like in this little funk since like Friday night. Saturday, I went and spent the day with my uncles. It was the first day of college football. So I was up there with them. And that kind of like, okay, lifted me up. But then when on my way home, it hit me like, damn, I just really hung out with my uncles at the spot that my dad would be. So I was kind of like in the funk all over again. So Sunday morning, you have to be intentional. And that's something I'm learning personally with every aspect of my life is to be intentional. So Sunday I got up, I said, okay, I'm not going to make the worst of today. I want to shout out Shad because he came over Sunday. He was like, I'm going to make sure I hang out with you. I want to see you to make sure you are good on Sunday. So I was intentional from the time I got up, and I was like, okay, Daddy, send me something today. I was like, let me know you hear me, you feel me, just send me something. So Sunday, my daughter and I went to Free Life. Shout out to Pastor Scott.
Okay.
We called the 9:30 service. And if y'all don't believe me, go watch the service. And then if you want me to put a picture of my dad's obituary, my dad's favorite quote out the Bible was, if God is for us, who can be against us?
Okay.
Now, mind you, prior to going to church, I asked my dad, I say, send me something, let me know you hear me, you miss me, something. In the sermon, I swear, go watch it if you don't believe me. Pastor Scott in his sermon said, if God is for us, who can be against us? And that just made my day because it was like, I just felt like my daddy answered me. He answered me. Yes. So it's things like that. And like you said, the therapy, the Bible, God, that continues to keep us just going every day. Because sometimes his spirit, man, we hear don't walk up the stairs. So how our home is made when you come up the stairs, like my room right there. So you're going to see who come up the stairs. So you hear the walking up the stairs. So I'm looking. And I'm looking. And I'm looking. Nobody never come by. I'll be like, okay, me. What? I said, what? Or I'll see the glow. The glow, we was always told the glow means you made it to heaven. Like if you see a glow and it bypass you at the house, or it can be in the corner. Like one time the glow was in the corner. Every time I looked up, the glow was there.
So it was like satisfaction to me, like, okay, me, you watching over me. I'm not scared of, the things that I've heard that's being said. I'm at peace. I'm at peace with everything. I'm at peace with my family that had something to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just at peace. I don't want the bickering. I'm just over it. I'm over it. Like,
You at peace.
I'm definitely at peace. I can smile.
Well, thank you for closing out my
Thank
community
you.
chat with me.
Thanks for having me.
We will be back on the couch. Listen, so y'all know I wouldn't be chatting with China if I didn't piss y'all off. So next month, we are focusing on religion and politics. So I will be back on the couch in September to piss y'all off in September. I'm not going to announce my guests just yet, but I definitely will see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, sweetheart.
No, thank you.